Chapter 13. First Night. Jenny Hamman, 31. Cretaceous. Jenny turned off the headlamp and settled in the tent, thinking. The night was still with fewer night sounds than in the Africa of her day. As the night wore on and the temperature dropped, it became almost silent, except for the wind. She did from time to time hear the rustling of small animals near the tent, undoubtedly the small mammals that survived unnoticed among the giants. Good for the little guys. Hang in there. Your time will come. One of them might be her great ancestor. In her time, the night was when the world came alive, as all the wildlife came out to feed and hunt, free from the oppressive heat of the day. Many of the animals here were cold-blooded and did not move around well in the colder parts of the night. Jenny knew that would not be true of all. Paleontologists knew, from the sectioning of bones, that they were much more vascular than the bones of cold-blooded reptiles. Some of the predators had high enough metabolisms that they were probably warm-blooded and could maintain their body heat into the night. The larger herbivores had enough mass that it would take much longer for them to cool down. What did all of this mean? What did she really know? Using reptiles as an example, they liked a certain temperature range. They didn't function well if their body temperature rose above or fell below that range. Was this true here? Some dinosaurs were small, but some of them were beyond massive. With greater mass, they would cool and heat slower. They could be active later in the night than you might think if they were big enough. But would it take longer for them to warm up in the morning? Would the heat of the day be too much for them? Did they have other ways to control their temperature? She thought of alligators yawning. Then there were the predators, which had higher metabolisms. Would they stop hunting in the night at all? How would they deal with the heat of the day? Would they have feathers? That was the current theory, that some of them were feathered to one degree or another. Which ones? She tried to think back to her grandfather. He had spoken once about that, but it was many years ago, and she wasn't sure which ones he had said were feathered. Over the last 2 decades, fossil records had shown evidence of feathers on theropods, which included all the nasty bipedal predators. Many of them were probably covered, or at least partly covered, in downy feathers for insulation. They had evidence of larger feathers on the limbs. They might have been for display, but one other idea was that they were used to cover and keep the nest of eggs warm through the night. The impression of skin from larger animals showed signs of scutes, horny plates like the surface of birds' feet, or the skin of rhinos or elephants. They may have been bony enough to act as armor. As they grew larger, they may have outgrown the need for insulation. Would the older animals still retain any feathers, perhaps a crest? No one was sure how far it dated back, so other branches might also have some form of feathers. She tried to wrap her head around where she was. What had brought her here? She thought about her kindly old grandfather and his visits. She tried to remember every time she had seen him, what he had said. Looking back on the things he had taught her, he had known all that time. The slightly sad look she would sometimes catch on his face as he watched her. The money he had left her made sense now, always pushing her toward this point. What would have happened if she had not come here? What would happen if she failed? If she died here, would her grandfather have disappeared on one of his trips? Her mother would have never been. Her father would have married someone else. He might have had a child, but it wouldn't have been her, would it? It boggled the mind to imagine all this cascading history stemming from this one moment, disappearing and being rewritten. It gave her a headache. She didn't have the right kind of mind for this. Maybe one of those theoretical physicists could wrap their head around all the contradictions. She had talked with one of them at a luncheon, and he had tried to explain quantum theory to her, but she tuned out after he tried to turn it into an analogy about a cat in a box. She was here. She could feel the ground beneath her. She could hear the wind outside her tent. The rodent digging under the bush to her right was real. The Benetatalian she had touched today was real. And everything said that what she had to do was real. It was late when she dozed off, with the certainty that the day to come, and many that were to follow, would be memorable.